All right, let's get going here. So, this video today is about leveraging social media, especially when it comes to the global virtual design sprint. Now, well, I'll start over since this is live and I can't go back. The reason why I'm bringing up social media and the GVDS is that it's really important in that when you combine your use of social media with your activities in the global virtual design sprint, it helps people understand what you're interested in. You can share what you know and what you do so that it's really a reflection of your abilities, both professionally and otherwise. And it's a good way to record your professional history. It gives you kind of a narrative for people to look at when you're not there, especially if you're applying for jobs or looking for opportunities. Social media tends to be something that hiring managers look at to see what you're doing on LinkedIn, what you're paying attention to, what you're commenting in terms of articles and things. So it's fairly important, especially when it comes to showcasing what you do and what you know. Now, some of you may have favorites in terms of the types of social media networks that you subscribe to, and others may not want to do social media and don't want anything to do with it for whatever reason. That's fine. But what I'm showcasing here are currently, at least from the research that I did in the past couple of days, is that, and this is combined with my own kind of point of view, is that these particular platforms do the best when it comes to non-paying content, meaning that if you are active on these networks, use the networks in the way that they're meant to be with hashtags and tags and other things, this is the current rank. Now, Pinterest is something that's been growing because people are starting to understand how to leverage it for business. And the platform has actually been doing a lot of updates on the back end with their system. They've got some interesting products that are coming out related to business. So it's really interesting. I've been dabbling in it, but I haven't gone full bore into it. LinkedIn right now is 2, but it's rapidly declining. I posted on Twitter yesterday that I thought it's dead because a year ago, you would post something on LinkedIn and your reach was vast. I mean, you could literally span friend of a friend of a friend on those networks where it could be any piece of content and you would get like tons and tons of attention. But lately, it's been slowing down to the point where someone would post something in my direct network and I wouldn't get notified until about a week later, which was the weirdest thing. So it's definitely going down pretty fast. So if if you were able to take advantage of LinkedIn for the past year and a half when it was just bonkers, organic, crazy, kudos to you. But right now, I think you may have missed the boat if you're trying to put a lot of stuff on there. It's still doable, but it's not going to get the kind of attention that you're looking at. YouTube has always been a staple in terms of educational material. Facebook is always there, though the PR of that platform has kind of been on the decline all this year, and marketers love it, but users not so much. Twitter is kind of a cesspool of of thought, even though you can navigate it and find groups that you really enjoy, so you can find like-minded people, but you have to do a little bit of digging. And Instagram, just this spring, it just died. There's just nothing there. Um, there's people that are very, very like enthusiastic about it that post to it, but really the amount of reach that you get, meaning the people that could discover you in a fresh way, really can't happen unless you start paying for ads or paying your way through it. So it's in terms of return on investment for free stuff, this is how it's currently is right now. Where I would say that out of all of these, YouTube is probably going to anchor itself pretty well. TikTok is probably going to fall on this list because of its restrictions in the US. LinkedIn is probably going to be falling into the line with Facebook as like a staple, but not really anything advantageous. But again, if you understand the platforms that kind of get into it, then that's what it is. But for the purposes of the GVDS, I'll digress. Um, They'll probably depend on what you do well. So if you're thinking about using social media and promoting what you do as part of your virtual design sprint team, one of the easiest ways to do it is just to share screenshots on Pinterest. Now, I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it's the easiest thing to just basically take like a small snippet of what your team is working on, make sure that it's somewhat in the format of what Pinterest is looking for, and they have their dimensions. But even if you don't, you put it up there and you put like a title and a small reference point. It's a really quick way of starting to build a lot of attention around what you're doing and around your work, especially if it's on design or development. You want to give an idea of what you do in the very beginning. It's really good for that. Regular updates on Twitter. Twitter is really good for just basically just posting stuff that happens or thoughts, or even if you're following with your own team or doing something, that's something where it's a really quick kind of like 30-second update that people can follow. You could, and Twitter's updated the platform where you can do like kind of like stream stories. You can do other things with media. So it's not bad, especially for quick updates, but that would be my go-to, especially for beginners if you never tried it before. Summary updates on LinkedIn are always good. They're probably the best professional narrative you can do, even if you don't get a lot of attention on them. Um, Many people try to post on LinkedIn for the first month thinking that they're looking for that return on investment in terms of attention. It's not there, and it's not the wrong way of doing it. You have to assume that what you're going to be putting into LinkedIn is going to be seen by somebody 6 months from now, and they're going to be seeing what you actually do and what you're interested in. And that's the right way of kind of thinking about things, is medium to long term with LinkedIn, and the historical narrative on what you do is better. You can stream your sessions on YouTube and Facebook, and this is something that's going to be a separate lesson getting closer to Sprint Week, where I'm going to be showcasing how to do this for each team. In fact, if someone is social media kind of oriented or wants to learn more, I'm going to be giving step-by-step instructions on how to do something like I'm doing right now, which is streaming to YouTube, or to taking something like Restream and streaming to Twitch and to Periscope and some other platforms that may not have as much traffic. But if you want full coverage about what you're doing, that's a good way of doing it. Posting short stories and case studies, especially on Medium. Medium, for the most part, doesn't have a lot of organic reach or traffic, but it is a nice way of kind of putting in your own publishing platform, and you can cross-reference it with Quora or even LinkedIn to basically like do pillar content and drive attention towards particular things you want people to know about. But Medium's really good, especially if you're good in writing content. Uh, Anchor is a kind of like a place that hosts podcasts, or podcasts or small kind of audio clips. So you can record a digital diary on there and make it 5 to 6 minutes long, and it can be kind of like your experience with going in the GVDS or even being on a virtual design sprint team. And for the most part, you don't have to worry about what you say, as long as you're not really cussing like crazy. As long as you're just doing it is the important thing. And then you can look back a year from now and say like, okay, that's how it was. You may not even listen to it, but at least you can have that time of the event captured in some way that normally you wouldn't be able to access. And it can always be available to you. You don't have to publish it, but Anchor's a pretty good way of, Anchor.fm, it's a pretty good way of kind of doing this. And you can also put quick updates and tidbits on TikTok and Snapchat. TikTok is probably, even though it's about to go in the dark here in the US, it's still got, it had crazy organic reach, like tons of attention, but it was mostly entertainment purposes. And really the two buckets in social media are entertainment and information. So if you're all about information and informing people, that plays just as well as if you're parading around dancing to a song. And you have to be consistent with it, though, to really make it work. Snapchat's dormant right now. It's, I don't know where it is, but it's playing around with 3D. It's trying to be a little bit more future forward, but TikTok is where it's at in terms of you want like the best return on investment for informational material that you put online. So if you want to know where to go after me kind of spouting about all these details with social media and how to, and basically have this face, then there's a couple of things you can do. Think about how you create content and your own preferences. Historically, what have you done in the past? Have you turned to writing? Have you turned to recording on a video? Do you like recording your voice? Whatever you do, think about those mediums that you have a preference for, and pick one that you can do in the GVDS, like one that you would want to do. And just think of it as a short-term experiment, but something that you can do that won't take up a ton of time. And then commit to writing at least one piece of content per day on whatever platform you choose. So it's got to be, if you're talking Monday through Friday of the social media of virtual design sprint week, you can do it then. You could do it the week previous when you're doing a lot of like prep work for your week. It's your choice, but just commit to that one piece of content. You can even watch a video or read an article or kind of do some research on how to really effectively use the platform. I'll go through one in before I end the video, but it's always good to kind of look at how other people kind of do their posting, because then it really helps in terms of understanding what you can also do to kind of do the same thing, or maybe not the same thing, but something similar, so you really know how to work on that platform. If you have the time, you can also investigate how other people are doing their stuff, like I mentioned, but you can ask a question. You can post your own comment, especially if it's a piece of content that seems to be getting a lot of attention. This is just to basically be in the conversation mix around whatever the content is that you're interested in. And sometimes you'll find like-minded individuals that will connect with you, but that's always something you can do as like an option. But one thing I'm strongly recommending is that you ignore any likes and follows related to your content. It's a huge mistake when you're first starting to do social media, or even if you're creating content thinking that there's going to be attention right off the bat, and there usually isn't. You have to have a consistent track record with social media to really kind of see some returns in that regard. But likes and follows are metrics that are misleading, and they're kind of like fast food information. Really, the things you're looking for are comments and basically engagement, like actual human engagement on the other side with kind of what you're talking about, or people that share your work on their platform and kind of put it into their feed or something like that. So likes and follows, just, I know those metrics can be attractive on any platform, but ignore them. They don't mean much. Sometimes the bots just basically leave them. I wouldn't put any value into them at all. So that's kind of how I would think about social media with the GVDS and what you could do. And before I stop this video, I want to go into a example of what you can do on LinkedIn. So let's get into this one. So this is my LinkedIn view. And normally when I get into LinkedIn, I have something already kind of prepared. But what I can do for this is for my live stream, I'll go over here. Let's see, let's share this. Make a copy of it. I'm going to go over here to LinkedIn, start a post, and I can go as easily like, I'm talking about social media right now on YouTube. Take a look. This is one example. And then I go down here. Whenever I paste like a video in here, then it basically gets into what I'm showing. And I had a little preview that I put up about leveraging social media. Now, this is all fine and well, because it's kind of like just, engaging. But one thing you can do with LinkedIn in particular is that when you post a link, you can actually get rid of it like you do on other platforms, and this preview thing will stay there. So we're good. But I tend to get a little bit more descriptive about what somebody should expect when they actually get into the content. So I'm going to go back to my live stream over here, and I'm actually going to get out of this and go to edit, because I have a description over in the YouTube that I can use. And I'll copy all the content I created before. So I'm going to copy this, go over to LinkedIn, and I'll highlight all of this, and I'll go like that. So now I have a more useful description that I typed up previously, tells everyone what's going to be about, what my opinion is about social media. So everything's looking good so far. Now, a couple of things you can do also on LinkedIn is you can basically tag people. And the way to do that is with @signs. So I don't know if TikTok is on LinkedIn. Yes, it is. So if you noticed, all I did was put a shift. I hold down the shift key and I hit the 2 button, or the 2 key on my keyboard, which is the @ symbol. And that basically points to whatever I'm going to type, or it's listed afterwards. And TikTok is a company, so I'm going to put that there. And for LinkedIn, let's see, I can also put that there. Yep, LinkedIn's right there. Now, if I wanted to tag somebody that I knew in this article and made sure they understood, like for social media, I can go CC, not XX, CC, and I'll put Sandy Lamb right there, or just type in Sandy. And in my network, it shows that they're first or second. I don't want to, hit Sandy Schlee, because he's going to know what the hell's this guy tagging me for. But I put Sandy Lamb here. And this is a way of getting people to know that your article was posted about social media. So I'm just going to let her know about that. There's also other people I could inform with social media around this article that may be interested, but I'm not going to tag them per se. I just do it casually. So that's 2 ways of doing it. Is you can do businesses or references in the description, or you can just basically put CC if you want certain people, let them know about something that you created or that you posted on LinkedIn. Now, the final thing I'll go into is hashtags. And what hashtags are is when people do searches on LinkedIn or search engines look for content, they're going to be looking for certain tags or certain keywords that people put in. And when you put hashtags on things like this kind of content, it helps people find it. Usually on LinkedIn, you don't want to do more than 10 hashtags, maybe 7 at the most or 7 at the least. So, and we have some that I've written here before. So I can go and say, okay, so I can write in my own and put hashtag GVDS5 is one. I can even do, which is Global Virtual Design Sprint 5. I'll just do GVDS. Then I have some other ones like Virtual Design Sprint, then Design Sprint, then Remote Design Sprint, and some other things in here. Now, if I mentioned before, if you want to read articles about effective hashtags, there are some that actually go into effective hashtags or most popular ones on Medium, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. TikTok actually showcases the amount of views that certain hashtags have when you use the platform. But on the for the most part on LinkedIn, as long as you're kind of using the consistently with these hashtags, like also do business. For this one, I'll do social media, and it gives you kind of a running list down below here, though you can't really see it. I'll zoom out a little bit. Social media engagement. All I have to do is just click on that. It'll completely fill out the rest of it there. Let's see if I do social media, something else. So social media. See what else it's got. Help, campaign management agency. Now just put social media. So I've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's pretty good. So when I have my description, I've got my hope you enjoy the video. The video is linked here. And I got CC Sandyland to let her know. All I have to do is hit post. And that should do it. And it appears right here on LinkedIn. I can hit see more to see the whole link as it's kind of been put into here. If I feel like I've misspelled something, I just hit the 3 dots here and put edit. I can save it. I can embed it for another site if I wanted to embed this entire thing. There's a lot of different options. But this is just one example of how to use social media in a very nice way. So say if instead of I was doing this, I could basically post about something related to my my team, my project, anything I like. And this is just the first piece of content. And overall, this took me less than 10, 15 minutes to create, but that's about how it goes. And then you can just read up on how to do LinkedIn social media. In fact, I'll do it right now while we're recording. LinkedIn and organic social media. See what comes up. How to grow your brand's organic following on LinkedIn. So this is the August 13th, 2020 by Steve Kearns. So I can go in there and go, I can also do this. Let's do copy. And I'll go back to my LinkedIn thing. I'm going to edit. I'm going to go. By the way, you could, let me make sure I'm going to just scan this so it's not like marketing speak. Get your target, the value, remember that. Don't I sound like the teacher from Charlie Brown? Yeah, pretty good. All right, that sounds good. It's halfway decent. Normally I take a longer to read these things, but for the purposes of example, I'll do this. By the way, for more, here's the example I used in the video about organic reach on LinkedIn via an article by, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to check out this dude's name, Steve Kearns, kind of see if I can see that picture somewhat. I'm going to go, Steve, can I get him? Kearns. Yay! I think that's him. Let's take a chance. If not, he'll ignore it. By Steve Kearns. Here's the article instead of the example. Here's the article I referenced in the video about organic reach on LinkedIn. Referenced by, let's do Steve Kearns up here. You can actually do them twice, but I don't think I'll just do them that. Let's do Steve Kearns. Hey, there you are again. By Steve Kearns. That I referenced in the video about organic reach on LinkedIn. And I'll go ahead and copy it here. And there you go. Now, Steve Kearns is going to know that I basically linked to his article. He may or may not react, but if nothing else, that's one way of kind of expanding my own network or my own reach and basically complementing and kind of showcasing other content that I am interested in. In fact, I will kind of go into this and kind of look at it. By the way, while I'm at it, their social media examiner is an It's just an amazing website when it comes to teaching about social media. I'll leave this in the notes. But if you're ever interested in understanding how to do, if you're interested in doing more with social media organically, this is a fantastic website. The podcast is pretty good. It's a bit heavy on the advertising, but it does have some good features in here. But I think the content on this site is just, I can dive in and stay in here all day and just basically experiment. But if you ever want to take the next step with social media and understanding how to use it, especially for GVDS, then this will be the place to go. Okay. Now we're going to stop. I think I've given enough examples. I'll go back into here and I'll save this so that Steve Kearns can get something nice in his mailbox when he wakes up tomorrow. And I think we are set. So hopefully this helped you in terms of understanding how to use the social media for GVDS. If you have any follow-up questions or you want to know more, just post up in YouTube or on the Facebook group or in Slack or email me or smoke signals or something. But whatever you do get a hold of me and let me know what you thought of this particular video and what you'd like to see in the future. Okay? So take care. Talk to you later. Adios.